Before he was jumping off cliffs, clinging to planes mid-flight, or sprinting across rooftops for the perfect shot, Tom Cruise was just a dyslexic kid from Syracuse with a dream no one took seriously. Today, he stands as one of the most bankable stars in cinematic history. But the story behind the stunts is one of pain, rejection, obsession, and an unwavering belief in himself. Let's dive into the life, habits, and inner spark that turned Tom Cruise into a global phenomenon. Born Thomas Cruise Mapother IV on July 3, 1962, in Syracuse, New York, Tom Cruise's early life was anything but glamorous. He moved over a dozen times before high school, his family constantly uprooted by financial hardship. Raised by a single mother after his father walked out, Cruise often described his childhood as marked by poverty and struggle. He was also dyslexic, a diagnosis that made traditional schooling nearly impossible. Labeled as lazy or slow by some teachers, Cruise found refuge not in books, but in movement. In sports, in performance, in expression. At 14, he entered a Franciscan seminary with the dream of becoming a priest. But destiny had other plans. By the time he graduated high school, he had dropped out of the seminary and set his sights on something even more unlikely: Hollywood. His first role came in 1981's Endless Love, but it was risky business, 1983, and the iconic line, "Sometimes you gotta say, what the hell?" that launched Cruise into stardom. At just 21, he had arrived, but fame wasn't enough. Tom Cruise didn't just want to be seen, he wanted to outwork, outlast, and outshine everyone in the room. By the late 80s and early 90s, Cruise became more than a movie star. He became a guarantee. From Top Gun to Rain Man, from A Few Good Men to The Firm, his films weren't just popular, they were box office events. Yet behind the scenes, he was crafting something rare in Hollywood: total control over his career. He partnered with directors like Martin Scorsese and Stanley Kubrick, making bold creative choices that challenged his clean-cut image. His performance in Magnolia earned him an Academy Award nomination and deepened the world's perception of his range. Then in 1996, he changed the trajectory of his legacy: Mission Impossible. It wasn't just a hit, it was the beginning of one of the most successful action franchises of all time. And Cruise wasn't just acting, he was producing, coordinating stunts, and risking his life, literally, for every jaw-dropping scene. He became the face of dedication in an era of CGI shortcuts. Whether hanging off the side of the Burj Khalifa or flying real military jets in Top Gun, Maverick, Cruise redefined what it meant to be a leading man. He didn't want to pretend to be a hero, he wanted to become one. Cruise's journey wasn't without turbulence. In the mid-2000s, his public image took a hit, from his controversial support of Scientology to infamous media moments like the Oprah couch jump. The press mocked, Hollywood whispered. Some fans distanced themselves, but Cruise didn't flinch. Instead, he doubled down on his work. He returned to the Mission Impossible franchise, delivered Edge of Tomorrow, and then, against all odds, revived Top Gun with a sequel that shattered box office records and brought audiences back to theaters after the pandemic. For Cruise, the answer to criticism was always the same: focus on the work, elevate the craft, let excellence do the talking. Tom Cruise didn't become a legend by luck. He became one by ritual, by relentless practice, and by adhering to habits most people wouldn't dare sustain. These three have defined his success. First, obsessive preparation. Whether training to fly fighter jets or learning choreography for fight scenes, Cruise is infamous for going all in. He trains for months, even years, just to ensure authenticity. To him, greatness comes from leaving nothing to chance. 2, total immersion in character. Cruise doesn't act, he embodies. From the cold, manipulative Vincent in Collateral to the charming Maverick, Cruise disappears into his roles. He studies not just lines, but mannerisms, psychology, and philosophy to create fully realized characters. Third, ruthless work ethic. Set after set, Cruise is known as the first to arrive and the last to leave. He personally reviews takes, supports crew members, and demands the best, of others, and especially of himself. So what is Tom Cruise's inner spark? For him, it's the unbreakable belief in what's possible. He grew up in a world that told him he couldn't succeed. Not with dyslexia, not with poverty, not in Hollywood. But he believed. He believed so fiercely that even when mocked, misunderstood, or dismissed, he pressed forward. That belief fueled a career spanning 4 decades, $11 billion in global box office, 3 Academy Award nominations, and the adoration of fans who now associate his name with one thing: relentless greatness. Tom Cruise is more than a movie star. He's a lesson in resilience, obsession, and never letting the world define your ceiling. His journey reminds us that the most powerful thing a person can do is believe in a vision, then run at it full speed, no matter how wild it seems. Because sometimes, to do the impossible, you have to believe you're the one who can. What's your favorite Tom Cruise performance? Let us know in the comments.